Truly, 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 the real you loves you because the real you, you're supposed to finish that because
Oh, is love.
the real you is love. Well, hello out here, hello out there, and this is Friday, October 22nd, 2021, and my name is Oliver Blue, and this is my beautiful wife and partner and friend, Yaulanda Blue, and she has a smile on her face. You have a good smile on your face. That's not the song, right? But anyway, she's happy. And I'm happy to be here with you. And welcome to Truly Live, your weekly digital talk show for transformation, inspiration, and empowerment
And encouragement.
and encouragement. And we're so happy to have all of
You
you
don't have my comments
here with us
up,
tonight.
so
You get the
let me
comments
do
going.
that.
There you go.
Hello,
All right.
Juliet.
Juliet Thomas. Hey,
So-
Ramsley. Yeah.
That's my soror and alum.
All right.
It's homecoming, y'all.
It is homecoming 2021. This is a very exciting weekend for us.
So I'm doing comments here.
Yeah, you can do there. Exciting weekend for Yaulanda and I. We have so much going on, but most importantly, we chose to be with you tonight, and we're so happy and grateful just to be in your space and that you have joined us tonight, and we're just going to have a happy, good time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, want to first acknowledge that Truly Live is a creation of Yaulanda and I. We founded our transformation, our personal development company back in 2017, and we are here teaching transformation as an extension of our coaching business. And it's our goal. It is our desire. It is our goal to help others in the community, universal community, to gain clarity about their infinite self, which we call the real you.
Yes.
And also, it's our desire to help others to get results that matter to them, results that matters in your life. And we also want others to know, everyone to know, everyone needs to know this, that their life has deep meaning
And good purpose.
and good purpose. So that's our whys, why we are here. And we're glad that you chose this time to be with us. And
You know what I didn't do?
what did you
I
do?
didn't grab readers just in case.
You better go get your readers. You okay? See, when you're doing live broadcasting, you got to you got to be able to just roll with it.
We keep moving stuff. So
Yes. And if you're out there, please use the chats to let us know that you are there. We like for this time together to be very interactive. We like to respond to to the viewers, and so we invite you to share your thoughts. If you have questions, put them in the chats in the comment field. Yaulanda is monitoring that, and we'd love to hear from you. So anyway,
So welcome, everyone. We want to give a shout out to all of our patrons, and some of you some of you should have received your gifts that we sent for the first 25. So, and thank you so much for supporting us. We want to also give a shout out to our to those who are always on here with us.
yes, our regular viewers, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Yes, so that is and a super special shout out tonight for Grandma Blue, one of our super supporters. We know that she's watching, and we appreciate her dearly.
Oh, absolutely. And since we're doing special acknowledgments, we might as well go ahead and acknowledge our Winston-Salem State University family, because this weekend we are celebrating homecoming. And if you didn't know it, both Yaulanda and I are alumni of WSSU. one of the
Those fighting Rams.
yes, one of the greatest HBCUs in the country. Also, want to give a special shout out to the class of 1981, which that was my graduating class, and we are celebrating 40 years this year. 40 years. Did you hear that? I've been out of college 40
I'm
years.
cheering for you
Wow.
and for your classmates.
So, special shout out to the class of 81 and also to one of our members uh, of my class, George Jaggers, great friend of mine.
Said his first and last name again.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, man, I'm good for that. George actually is getting inducted into the Hall of Distinction at the university tonight at 7 o'clock, right at the same time that
yes.
we're on. And so we just want to congratulate him.
Congratulations,
He has
George.
really put into work at the university as an alumni.
Yes.
And the award is so deserving and fitting for George.
Yes.
And so that's our special acknowledgments tonight. And we just like
Are
to.
we not acknowledging?
Oh, absolutely. And last but not least, you already mentioned my mother, Catherine. Catherine, right?
Too late.
And I know my mother's watching tonight. So hello, Mom. But just a special shout out to her this weekend because she is uh, um, celebrating her 89th birthday.
Woo woo.
Wow. On the 25th of October.
She gets a cheer too.
She gets a cheer too. And we're actually having a family celebration on tomorrow in her backyard.
Outside.
Family only. And with her with her children and her grandchildren and her great grandchildren and her great great grandchildren.
Yes.
And Catherine is the patriarch of my family, of our family. And she's not just 89 years old. I mean, young, but she's 89 years and she currently is in excellent health. And her mind is sharp as ours. And
we're happy and grateful for
and
that.
we are happy and grateful for that. So happy birthday, Mama. We're going to see you tomorrow.
So
I'm going to
have the comments going there.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
No.
Yes, I do. Right there.
Okay.
So we see that Mark Moore is on. How you doing, Mark? And Javon Whit, how you guys doing? These are both former employees, fellow employees of mine.
Where, dear?
Right here. So let's see if we get that. See if they come up. There you go.
Okay.
Who else do you see there? Who else do we need to shout out?
Oh wow. Let's see. We've got Sandra is on. Sandra, so good to see you. We continue to be in prayer for you. And
yes. Hello, Sandra.
Our dear, dear friend Sue is on. Hi, Sue. Pamela is on.
Hey, Pam.
And
so glad you're here.
You've already said Javon.
Javon Whit, yes.
And I am almost certain that I'm going to say hello to our dear friends Bob and Carol as well.
Oh, absolutely. So welcome to tonight's episode. And we're streaming live tonight on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And we also are going to be doing a replay on our Instagram channel. So we're all over these social media platforms.
Oh, I don't know why it disappeared.
Just to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just spread it to the right. So we're all over these social media platforms, bringing you transformational information that can help you get the results that you want in your life.
Javon called you an old man. Oh, Javon, I dare to. I disagree.
She has a different perception.
I have a different perspective.
Absolutely. Well, anyway. That's an inside joke.
Oh, very inside.
I'm just happy that you're here tonight, Javon. So we're going to move right along, and we always like to bathe our broadcasts and our episodes with the energy of gratitude.
Hello, Eric B. He's joined us.
All right. Yeah. Hello, Eric. We always like to bathe our streaming environment, broadcasts, engagement with gratitude.
Yes.
And gratitude is something that doesn't cost us anything to engage with, but it has so much value. And I have a screen up there.
Do you?
Yeah,
Oh,
if you
look.
go to the gratitude
I
screen,
most certainly will
I was
then.
going to share something with our viewers tonight about gratitude. Just hit the forward. There you go down there.
I gotta get the mouse up first. There we go.
Just left click it. It should move forward.
There we go.
As my wife maneuvers the other computer over here. Go forward again.
There you go.
Yeah. So we always like to start off with added gratitude because we have learned through our training as well as through our experience that gratitude is the easiest way to move energy. It's
Yes.
the best way to change vibration. And so we always want to make sure that we are in a high flying, joyous, loving vibration in which we teach these transformational principles. And so we always like to start out with a gratitude statement or two.
Yes.
So
Yes.
would you like to start us out tonight?
Well, I am so happy and grateful for all of you who've decided to join with us and be on this journey of increasing and expanding our awareness, staying on our growing edge so that we get to live our best life and live a life that we love.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
always very, very happy and grateful. Oh, there I see the pastors are on. Hello, Tony and Pastor Sawyer.
Hey, Pastor
Very good to
Sawyer.
see you guys.
Hello, co-pastor. Great that you guys are here. And again, this is a special weekend for us. So I'm just so happy and grateful for the fact that, uh, you know, a lot of my classmates are in town celebrating our 40th anniversary.
Yes.
I'm happy for the entire Winston-Salem State family who's gathering, though it may be limited because of, the still we're in a pandemic. But I'm also grateful for my mom for being being my birth mother, and then being my first teacher in life. And she still remains my teacher 89 years later. I'm so grateful that she's still with us, that she's still growing, and that she's still. I mean, she is one of the most energetic persons I know,
Yes.
even in this moment. And she has proven to me that you can live a healthy, exciting life for as long as you want to.
Exactly.
And that's what she's doing. So she's my example. She is definitely my example. So that's what I'm happy and grateful for.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Were you going to
yes,
share the power of gratitude?
I was going to share a few principles about gratitude. Gratitude is basically being thankful for everything, the good and the bad, what we might call bad, or that which is different. One of the highest forms of thought and means is one of the highest forms of thought and means to connect with life is gratitude. Gratitude generates a flow of abundance. Gratitude activates the voice of our intuition. It stills the chatter in our mind.
It raises our awareness,
It replaces anxiety.
stimulates our happy self.
Gratitude directs our thoughts from fear to love.
It has a positive effect on our health and well being.
Gratitude puts us in harmony with an abundance mindset.
An abundant mindset. It activates our giving nature,
Gratitude opens us up to new possibilities.
brings clarity and solutions to light.
Gratitude connects us to our infinite self.
And it promotes assurance and certainty.
Wow.
That's really good.
And we could go on and on and
We
on.
could, but that's a good list.
That is the value of gratitude, and we use it all the time.
Yes.
We use it all the time. So we're going to move on to our next segment, and we also like to set the mood or the stage or the vibration or the atmosphere in our show before we go on to our main teaching by sharing with the viewers a inspirational or encouragement statement
Okay.
or quote. And so today I chose a quote that is very popular, very popular. There's an author named James Allen who authored a book, a self-help book back in 1903, and he entitled that book "As a Man Thinketh." As a man thinketh. And so many of you may be aware or have heard of the book or maybe even read it, but it's a great book because it deals with the mind or it deals with the thinking of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And this book was written based on a Proverbs. Actually, it comes out of the biblical Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 7. You want to read that for us?
Yes. Proverbs 23, chapter 23, verse 7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yeah. So the saying go, as a man thinketh in his heart, or as we thinketh in our heart, so are we. In other words, our thoughts will eventually uh, be what we experience, and it will influence the way that we perceive ourselves, the way we perceive others, the way we perceive the world. And so um, it is so important that we understand, and if you've been on this planet at any time period, it don't take very long to understand that it is our thinking that is very important
Yes.
because it shapes the very experience and the very life that we will live. And so it didn't say as a man has a thought, meaning
Yeah.
singular thought, because we all have thoughts and we in many cases are not in control of what thoughts that may pass through our awareness. But what we do have control or a decision about is what thoughts we continually to think.
Yes.
And that's why it says it is not. That's why the proverb said, "As a man thinketh," that means as he continued to think.
As he continues to think.
Right.
Because as he's continuing to think, he is creating.
He's creating.
Yes.
That is the beginning of the creative process.
Sue said that she has that book and has given it to her son and stepgirls. So much compacted in that little book, and
Oh,
that's very
absolutely.
true. We've done that as well, Sue. We find it's a good book
Yeah.
to share with folks.
And it's a very short read.
It's a
So
good short read.
if you're here on the broadcast and hearing this about this book for the first time, you may want to put it in your inventory.
Mhm.
It is a great book.
James Allen
James Allen
is the author.
is the author, and he wrote that book way back in 1903,
1903.
but it is still relevant today.
Very relevant.
Yes, very relevant. So anyway, that's our inspiration and encouragement quote for this episode. Wow.
Wow.
So continue to use the chat or the comment field to just share any thoughts you have. If nothing else, just give us a shout out. Let us know that you are there and listening in. We love to know who our viewers are. And so we want to move on
Yes.
to the next segment of our talk show here, which we call Truly Life Lessons. Like I said earlier, it is our desire, this whole platform that we have established here called Truly Live was established out of our desire to help others to get clarity on their true identity. Because we know how important it is. I know how important it is. It was part of my um, transformation. Um, it was only at the age of 29 that I really began to study and have a hunger to know my true self. or to know what I was all about, other than the experience that I had already had. And it was in that desire to discover more about myself that I discovered in that moment that there was more to me than I had thought. There was more to me than I had been conditioned. There was more to me than I had experienced, and that has put me on a journey for over 40 years, around 40 years of self discovery. And I've been on this path and studying transformation and spiritual awareness for almost 40 years. And when we met back 31 years ago, when I met Yaulanda 31 years ago, she was on that somewhat similar path in her own life. And that's really what drew us together. And we decided to partner together.
You
let's
said somewhat similar.
somewhat similar. I mean, you had other, your path had other activities and ingredients that wasn't in mine, and vice versa. So they were somewhat similar.
But
But at the core of
the commonality was that
yeah,
we both were asking questions and desiring to know not only what our purpose for being here was, but to gain clarity on who we really are.
absolutely.
So that was similar. We were going about it actually in very similar ways.
In very similar
because
ways.
we were both reading to expand our awareness.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yes. And I would say that everyone that's listening in on this broadcast at some point in their journey got into a self-inquiry state of mind, wanting to discover more.
Exactly.
And,
And if nothing, if and it, that takes on several, it can take on several faces, but there are so many questions. I mean, like, one of those questions is this all there is?
Yes.
Is this all there is to life? And I think more importantly, is this all there is to my life?
Absolutely. I had the same questions. And, from my studies now and looking back on that time when I had a limited awareness of my true identity, um, it was almost like it was programmed in me. Yes. And I think it's programmed in all humanity, in every human spirit, to come to know thyself. The great,
yes,
the unknown author of that particular quote, "To know thyself is the greatest adventure one can have." And I think we even came here to come to know ourselves, yes, through our experiences. And so I'm just so happy. And here we are, Yaulanda and I, 31 years later, uh, from that initial point, and we were just having so much fun. Not only discovering who we are and rediscovering who we are, because it's almost like we are endless beings,
presenting and representing ourselves
and representing
That's
ourselves.
how we see representing, is
every
to
day.
Present and represent.
Oh yeah, yes, ourselves. Yes. To represent is to represent yourself in every moment. Yes. And as we become more aware that we are aware, and that the one thing that's been common throughout our whole life, even as a 2-year-old, the same awareness that we had as a 2-year-old is the same awareness that I have now at 62.
Yes.
The only thing that was different was just the activities of my life. But it's like they were playing out on my stage of awareness. And so I am so much more in tune with the mystical side of myself, I would say. The unseen Oliver. I know a lot of you guys out there know me, know my personality, know my, my vibe, how I present myself and represent myself. But even deeper than that, deeper than what I can express through my deeds and my action is a knowing that I have of the infinite possibilities and, and the infinite experiences that I can choose to have in this life.
Yes.
And and it just makes me happy.
Well, I'm happy because Hazel has joined us
Yes.
tonight. Hello,
Hello,
Hazel.
Hazel.
And so has Brenda. Brenda says, love the orange blues. And then she did the haha. Well, actually,
Well,
Brenda,
actually,
here
Brenda,
we go again.
yes, we're working with new lighting,
Yeah.
and so actually, I have on red and black.
And I have on red because we are representing
Winston-Salem
Winston-Salem
State
State,
University.
our alma mater, and this is homecoming weekend, so we'll show it again.
Yeah, even the
So,
helmet.
yeah,
The helmet
even
is
the
bright
helmet
red,
looks,
and it looks a little
yeah,
orange.
it looks orange.
So it is the lighting the new lighting that we're working with,
Yeah.
and you if you ever um, inquire into broadcasting or photography, you'll find out that the lighting is everything.
And yeah, and you know what? Let me just say, Justin, we tried.
Yes.
he's he's our technical support. Our youngest son is our technical
Yes.
support. And so that's right. Marquesa is on. Hello, Marquesa.
Hey,
She said,
Marquesa, go
Rams.
Rams. All right. Yes. So we're celebrating with our fellow Rams tonight, even here, even though we're not there physically, but we're just we're just excited knowing that the
Oh,
class.
Brenda said she thought that our colors were for Halloween.
Wow.
No.
Well, we got to think about Halloween. When is that, next week? Yeah,
We don't
next
actually
next
think
Sunday.
about Halloween. We enjoy the candy, but
Yeah, we might do a little orange.
okay. Oh, you mean like next week?
Yeah, we might have to put on pink to look orange. I don't know.
I don't know.
Have to like-
We'll see what we can do.
We'll see what we can do. Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you, Marquesa. Thank you, Hazel, for being here with us. You guys are just in time because we're gonna start unpacking the subject for tonight. And so in this section on Truly Life Lesson,
There's a question that Javon asked, and what we're going to do is, if you don't mind, we're going to hold your question till the near the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the Truly Life lesson, and then we'll address your question then.
okay, absolutely. So tonight,
and thank you for submitting your question, Javon.
So I want to start out tonight's conversation by saying we've all heard ourselves or we've heard others say this statement. Well, this is just who I am. We've all probably said it or we've heard others say it. This is just who I am. Meaning, this is how I've always been, and this is the way I will always be. What we're saying when we make that statement in it.
Yeah, people say, I know I've heard it said so many times.
So many times. I've said it myself. But I don't say it anymore.
Yeah. I was going to say it's not a statement that I use frequently about myself because I'm always trying to I'm always expanding.
You always you always have had a growth mentality.
So when I've heard people say that, especially people that I know, I've always had the thought when they say that, this is just who I am. My question has always been, is it really?
Is it really?
Is that really who you are?
Because that's such a statement of stagnation. Mm. It's such a statement of stagnation. And it's not a statement of growth or expansion.
Well, it is certainly a statement that actually I think kind of demonstrates where their thinking is.
It demonstrates where their thinking is, and it goes back to the quote. It goes back to the quote: "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he."
Yes.
And
And,
so,
and it also has the implication of I can't be anything else.
and it also has the like almost like a finality in that
Yeah.
statement. This is who I am, and I can't be anything else. And this is who I've been conditioned to be.
Well, and this is what we're actually going to be talking about, because my question of is it really who you are? I mean,
Is it
is
is
that
it
really who you are?
is it the real you?
Is it the real you, or is it who you have been conditioned to be? And I say that because I know a number of times I watch what we say to children, especially. We do it with adults too,
Yeah.
but I really watch what we say to children. Um, and remember, I'm also one of those people who I look to see how much of our energy we're feeding to negative things, negative circumstances, negative comments about ourselves, and especially the things that we don't want. But I recall when our children were young, I know that I was, adamant about not calling them kids. I wouldn't call them kids because a
Right.
kid is a baby goat, and the implication there is that they're hard headed, and I didn't think they needed any
Encouragement.
encouragement there. So just like I never would call my children silly because again, I just didn't think they needed any encouragement there. And I see this when parents call their kids, they say, "Oh, you're so silly, you're so silly, you're such a clown, you're such a clown." And then when the child is older, then it's no longer, haha, you're so silly, you're such a clown. It's you're so silly and you're such a clown. But this is what has
That's
been
what they've
said
been
over
conditioned.
and over and over again. And so now the child has accepted silly and clown.
Yes, absolutely.
So I would not call our children kids.
No.
I took the time to say children.
Absolutely. So when we define or perceive ourselves based on our conditionings or the experiences that we have had, it seems we have made of ourselves something other than our divine nature,
Yes.
something other than our infinite self,
Something
something other
other
than
than
the real
the
you.
real you.
Yeah. Yeah. Our limitations really come from ourselves because in our nature, we are unlimited beings
Yes.
and we have uh, unlimited ability to create anything that we want and any result that we want.
Again, I'll go back to children. When we observe children, we'll see that children are not aware that they cannot do anything. They believe that they can,
Absolutely.
and they will certainly try because
Absolutely.
they don't think that they cannot do those things.
You said they don't think
They don't.
that they cannot do it.
No,
So it is in their what? Thinking.
it's in
Their
their
early thinking. And all of us were 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old at one time. We all had that experience. And in that experience, there was a sense of innocence
and
and
a grand sense of
and,
exploring
and
and adventure.
a grand sense of exploration, a grand sense of adventure
Yes.
that somewhere down the line it got conditioned or reconditioned to you can't or you ain't, or for the most part that conditioning was heavily influenced by the environment that we
Yes.
were nurtured in.
Yes.
So if we were nurtured in an environment uh, based on the thought system of our parents, or of our teachers, or of our extended family, or whoever were in mentoring roles in our life, to the degree that their thinking or their thought system was expansive,
Mm-hmm.
right, and
Mm-hmm.
creative, it determined what and how they conditioned our thinking.
Yes.
And in many cases, most of us got a dose of limitation poured on us over and over and over. again.
as we watch our grandson, which is he's absolutely fascinating.
Absolutely
Um,
fascinating.
you know, you can almost see his thought process,
Yes.
his thought processes as he is trying to figure something out. He's a great problem solver. He I haven't seen him get frustrated. He just keeps, you know, he keeps trying until, you know, he figures it out.
Yeah.
And then once he does, he smiles so
Yes. He
big.
believes that there is.
Yeah.
He believes that there is at less than 2 years old. He believed that there is a solution to everything.
Yes. So he just keeps at it. And you can tell when it's something that he really was wanting to work out, because he claps for himself, and so of course we clap for him too. And yes, we are those grandparents who, you know, yes, we clap it up for everything. But um he's not saying a lot of words now, but when we were out with him and out in the yard and we were playing with bubbles and balls, um, he said bubbles. He said bubbles several times, but what he wanted to do was to go play with the children, and so he kept running towards the road, which is why we went to the backyard. But before we got there, the children were down in the cul-de-sac riding their bikes, and they were on skateboards and scooters. And he said very clearly, he said, "Hey," and he said, "Girl." We I had never heard him say that, but he was waving and he was saying, "Hey," and he said, "Girl." And I was like, wow, he know, you know, so he knows more, you know, than we know that he knows. But it's just
Yeah.
fascinating to watch them.
Yeah. So our conditionings will eventually lead us to thinking, feeling, and then eventually saying
Yes.
and acting on the idea that this is just who I am.
Yes.
Eventually, unless there's an intervention.
Yes.
And all of us need intervention in our life at some point.
Oh yes.
And for me, that intervention, again, came at age 28, 29, when I just had this sense of there's more to life than I was experiencing. And if you'd have looked at my life from the outside at that time in my life, you would think that Oliver's having got a pretty good life going. You know, a great career. I had a wonderful wife at the time. I had my first son was born at the time. I was at age 28. Had bought my second home. Still owned my first home. Um, as far as having been able to pretty much do what I wanted to do at that time, there was no limitation there. But there was still, even with that, I got to the point where I felt like there was something missing, or there was more. It's got to be more to life than just acquiring things, or it's got to
So
be more to life than what I had experienced up to that point.
so your public life appeared to be you appear to be succeeding, and you were.
And I mean, on a
And you were.
natural level.
But your private life,
But in my private life,
and especially with your private thoughts,
in my private thoughts,
you were not feeling as though
I was not.
you were not sensing as
I
though
was
you
not.
were that successful.
I was not feeling success. I was not feeling. Um, I was not. I was not happy. I could create happiness,
Yes.
but I wasn't happy.
So
And
what
the
you were creating were
temporary
moments,
moments of happiness, but they were fleeting moments.
which
They
mean
came. They
which
came and they left.
which means that was not happiness.
That was not happiness. Yeah, it was kind of like masking. This it was like
Yeah.
masking the problem. But again, it was that desire to know myself that caused me to get on a path of discovery and to start to uh, look for information and insight on what life is all about, in which it led me down a spiritual path. I've always practiced Christianity up until that point, but even my Christianity um, wasn't doing it for me. And And because the little that I knew at the time, it was probably won't practice in 10% of it anyway.
Yeah.
So that was part of it.
Exactly.
Let's be
So
honest here.
it doesn't it doesn't matter that you
That's right.
were actually in that environment if you were just in that environment temporarily and
Absolutely.
instead of
I was
practicing,
just identifying with
you
the
were
with the
just
crowd.
yeah.
Yes, I was. That was one of my conditionings,
Yes.
and one of those conditionings is the labels that we carry. The labels that we carry. I'm of this religious persuasion. I'm of this race. That's a label. I'm of this gender. That's a label. I work in this industry. That's a
Another label.
label. Uh, I went to this university.
Another
That's a
label.
label.
One we enjoy.
One that we enjoy. Yeah. So all of these conditioning that we all get conditioned through
Yes.
our life
Yes.
eventually leads us to a point where we have to make a decision about, are we going to continue in this frustration, or are we going to pause and look for some solution and some answers. And that happens to all of us. If that hasn't happened to you up until this point, just live another day. It's going to happen. So this conditioned self.
And
So
if it has not happened to you, wow, you have
wow.
had a
Yeah.
grand uh, expanded
Yes.
awareness experience, and how phenomenal is
Yes.
that?
Yes. Because there are actually human beings that experience growing up in environments that promotes their true nature
Yes.
of love and generosity and discovery and creativity
Yes.
and support
Yes.
and
Inspiration, encouragement.
Yes, there are some people that don't get the overdose of negative conditioning, and then there's some folks that even growing up in that environment
Mhm.
have a tendency to walk away from even those positive uh, inputs to go out and to discover, like the prodigal son, go out to discover. Well, I'm in the comfort of my father's home. I don't need anything. Everything, life is good, but let me go out and discover what it is to fall on bad times.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So
That was the same example I was thinking
yeah.
of.
So the net result of all of our nurturing, we call it condition, or the conditioned self. So this is a self that we made. We make the conditioned self.
Mhm.
We were created as a divine self, and that can never change. But we can choose to explore life in such a way that it doesn't serve our better interest. And so this conditioned self is a collection of negative thoughts, limited beliefs, patterns of thinking that we get, habits, which turns into habits, meaning, and these leads to results that we do not want, and certainly results that don't make us happy. And in the transformation community that we live in as transformation coaches, it's just a language. There's a word that is used in this um, in the transformation community called paradigms, and all of you probably have heard that word before and say, "Well, paradigm. What's a paradigm?" Well, basically, a paradigm is what we just described. It's just a set of habits based on our conditioning, and these habits generally accumulate over time and are generally out of um, our awareness, and they're buried deep into our subconscious.
So paradigms are, it's our beliefs. Uh, it's the thoughts that we have that form our beliefs, which leads, to the influence of our experiences.
And the influence of our decisions.
And it influences our decisions.
Yeah. And normally these conditionings, which a lot of times they're not true about our nature, we're not conscious of them. In other words, we're not thinking of the fact that I have a mentality of lack, or I have a low self-esteem of myself based on my race or based on my economic situation or based on my political party
or whatever.
or whatever. It doesn't matter the label, but we we embrace these ideas for ourselves, and we make these ideas truths, and they become the habits that we're not even conscious of anymore. However, these are the habits, these are the ideas that are actually influencing our decision.
Yes.
It's just like a computer. There's an operating system in a computer. We don't see the operating system, we just see the outer shell.
Mm-hmm.
But what's running that computer is the subconscious or the inner operating system,
Yes, the hard drive.
the hard drive. And so, like an operating system in a computer, our paradigms are that's what's running us. That's what's causing us to make decisions uh, based on ideas that, in most cases, they're not true. And so, there has to be an intervention at some point because eventually our discontents and longings for different results will eventually scream at us, and there that begins the process of self-discovery, what we call transformation. Meaning, transformation really is about assessing the results that you have gotten in your life and moving towards different and new results.
Yes.
And that can be in different areas. And so our paradigms, again, is what's making our decisions. So there, at some point in my life, I had to change or replace the way I was thinking and think along the lines of my true divine nature versus the habits and the conditioning that I got from well-meaning people.
Mm-hmm.
But it caused me to have a low self-esteem of myself. It caused me. I was really a fear. I was really a fearful person. I didn't realize it at the time, but that's really what was running me, and that is not a pleasurable place to be in.
And it's funny because I recognize that immediately in you,
Of course,
just as you recognize some things
absolutely.
immediately
Oh, it's
in
easy.
me,
Oh, yeah, we can see things in
in other
others
people.
easily, but we don't examine ourselves,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's when we come to a point in life, and we all do, where we are willing to do the inner work, and a lot of it comes out of our pain.
Yes.
It comes out of, again, the results that we're getting. We don't want those results anymore. We want different results. And so we can argue for our paradigms. In other words, we want to keep them. We can argue for them, deny them, and then we'll get to keep them. But we'll also get to keep the same results that we're getting. And if we're
Yeah.
getting results that's not making us happy, we want to transform our results into different results. There has to be a willingness to change our operating system,
Yes.
to change our paradigms, to change our perceptions of ourselves based on the truth, based on our true nature, based on our infinite self. Because being in our paradigms is painful.
Yes.
And we can also say that to make those kind of changes in our lives, I know for us, um, it takes vigilance.
It does.
It takes vigilance, and it's it, but it's all worth the work.
It
and
is.
and so it starts with changing the way that we think about ourselves,
Yes.
because as a man thinketh, as we've said,
So is he.
so is the man thinking that is he.
Yes.
It doesn't change his divine nature,
No.
but it definitely makes of himself something that he's not happy with.
Yes.
So, to kind of wrap up our talk tonight, um, we like to give a few takeaways, and that is that everything starts with our thoughts, and eventually, what we think will create feelings within us, and eventually, those feelings will cause us to take some kind of action.
Mm-hmm.
And those actions that we take will determine our results.
Mhm.
And so when we understood this through our learning, through our own experience, we understood that we had to go to the root cause, and that was in our thinking, and we had to be willing to give up old ways of thinking for new ways of thinking.
Which was not which was not a difficult decision for me because I didn't like the results I was getting.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was okay. This is not working. But then, that's my scientific um, mind,
Yes.
that I applied to that. Sue said, um, those private thoughts can haunt us 24 hours a day. That's why we have to guard and choose our thoughts. And that's very, very true. And then co-pastor said, we make covenants around our paradigms. Yes, I'll never, or I'll always,
Yes.
all those things. And those covenants protect the paradigms, which is the conditioned behavior.
Absolutely.
But those are also the things that place us in tremendous bondage.
Absolutely. Yes.
Tremendous bondage.
Yes. So raising our awareness to that reality is the beginning.
Yes.
It's the beginning of knowledge.
Yes.
And we have to be willing to take on new thought systems.
Yes.
And we must be willing to do that inner work of renewal, which if you read scripture is always pointing to the fact that we need to renew our minds.
Yes.
Mean to make new, to make innocent again, to make real, to make in alignment with our divine nature.
It would be beneficial for us to always stay open.
Yes.
Open and to expand our awareness.
Yeah.
Because think about it, if we still had just the knowledge and the information that we had when we were in kindergarten, that may not serve us very well when we're doing the things that we're doing as mature adults.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this broadcast and you have actually responded within your own self to be in a place where there's growth, there's inspiration, and there's empowerment, because that's what Truly Live is all about. And that's why Yaulanda and I created this platform, so that we can share our life experiences, share these principles with the entire world, because we know what it did for us to learn these things.
Co-pastor said, and we know that it's co-pastor that's doing the typing, because Pastor Sawyer doesn't do that. We know.
You mean
it's
Pastor Sawyer not typing in the chat?
No, he's not typing in the chats. He may be talking to her, but he's not typing in the chats. But she says, if you can see where you're stuck, you're in the beginning stages of being unstuck.
Oh,
and that
absolutely.
Is very, very true.
Absolutely.
We're going to answer Javante's question. He says, his question was, what advice do you have when trying to find yourself and a new career in your mid 40s?
That's a great question.
It is, and thank you for asking that question, Javante. We've been talking in the
previous
episodes. We talked about the process of discovering
right
what it is that you really want to do, and we did that. We had a series of different things that we did, but we always encourage people to look at what it is that you're having. What are your longings and your discontents?
Yes.
What do you want more of in your life? And what do you want less of in your life? That's a good barometer.
Yes.
It's a good measuring stick to see what it is, which direction that you're really wanting to go in.
And then ask yourself the most empowering question. That is, what would I love? What is it? What is the thing that makes you come most alive?
Yes.
How would it feel to not only be able to do that, but to get paid for doing that?
And this may be something that is brand new, something that you've experienced, recently, or this could be something that you have always, for a long time, said, I would love to do
I would
this.
love to do that.
And someone may have even tried to talk
Talk
you
you
out
out
of
of it.
doing that, may
Yes.
have discouraged you. They may have
Yes.
said, you cannot
Yes.
be a ceramics major because you cannot live, making pottery.
Yes.
But if
Making
pottery
pottery
is what you enjoy, I don't know why we always choose that as an example. Well, I do know someone
that
that
makes pottery.
I do know
There's nothing
someone
wrong
that
with
was
making pottery.
told that for
Yes.
real. And but the person that I know actually moved out to out west and actually started doing all
Yeah.
kinds of beautiful pottery, and you know what?
Yeah.
They actually are
Yeah.
doing
Absolutely.
what they love.
Yolanda and I are here doing what we're doing as life coaches, and this broadcast being an offshoot of that, because at some point we sit down and discovered that this is what we love to do.
Yes.
And so then we moved in the direction of that dream, and as a result we're experiencing, this is part of the experience of the dream or the vision that we had for our life. But we sat down and asked ourselves, what would we love? So Javant, pause, sit down with a blank piece of paper and a pencil, ask yourself the question, what would I love?
And to help you to get to that place of understanding what it is, of discovering what it is that you really love, uh, ask yourself that question with in this caveat: what would I love to do if there were no limitations
Limitations.
whatsoever on me? No limitation of time or
Money.
money, your age, your physical location,
Right.
your education, all the things that we use to disqualify
For
us,
ourselves.
or that other people use to disqualify us. Make certain that you ask that question without any limitation, and do that. Do this exercise in the environment of all things are
Are
possible.
possible. Right.
Everything is possible. Uh, what is what is generally not the case is that we don't have the awareness of certain things at the time. But make certain that you do that, and as you do that, some people do a pro con list. You can do that if you'd like. But if you were to ask, just sit down and ask yourself, what is it I would absolutely love to do? And what would you even be willing to do that you wouldn't get paid for?
Absolutely.
That's a great indicator
Absolutely.
of what you would love. You would
Absolutely.
do it even if you didn't get
Absolutely.
paid.
Absolutely. But if you
So-
have a passion in your heart, and many times a vision is not just for you, but it's for everyone. Your vision, your true vision, is a benefit to everyone.
Yes.
And so so it's not about doing what you love and not able to live, but you can do what you love and live
Yes.
your best life.
Yes. Co-pastor says, what we use as defense mechanisms as children becomes our prison when we are adults.
Yes.
That is so
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely.
That is so true. And this is why we continue to do what we know does not benefit us. But we will
Absolutely.
continue to do that because that's what we're familiar with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
She also said, she said that Pastor does have one finger typing. LOL,
Yes.
you're right about that. Hazel said for many years she did not seek her inner self until she transformed her thinking to know that she is loving and she is lovable. That is so true, Hazel. That's one of the first the first
Yeah.
things that can help us, because this is when we understand who it is that we truly are. It really will not matter what anyone else says to us, because we have become confident in what in who we are. Okay.
Yeah, in many cases we have substituted our dreams and our desires and our vision for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And we have asked ourselves, what can I do to pay my bills versus what would I love?
Yeah.
What I can do to pay my bills is a higher quality questions. What I can do to be happy. What can I do that I would love to do?
Mhm.
That is a much empowering question.
Yes.
And sometimes we have again abdicated our desires um, for a paycheck.
Yes.
But anyway, we've kind of gone over.
Yeah, so let's thank you guys so much for uh your question and your comments. Uh we love to have that interaction.
Yes,
So now we're going
and we
to
may have to continue this next week
oh,
since there's so much more we can share here.
I love to talk about the our thinking and
Right,
how it is how really our current life is a direct result of the
decisions
decisions
that
that
we
we've
make.
made, and those decisions have been made because of the thinking that we have.
That's right, and the thinking has come from our conditioning.
Yes, but because we made that decision,
We can choose again.
we can make another decision. So
Yes.
I mean, so this is why I love to do that, because if we since we have, we've made those choices, we can choose again, and that's what I love.
Oh, co-pastor
uh
says, can you guys do a session on how to build self-confidence? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. In fact, we can include some of those practical points in next week's.
Yeah.
We'll stay on this line and include some of the practical points in building self-confidence.
And then the other thing that we want you guys to do is we want you to offer us suggestions for what information you want. Well, of course, we have a boatload of stuff that we
Just yes.
can share with you, but we of course want to be able to address the things that you need, and we're getting close to when we're going to have a guest on,
Oh,
so that you
absolutely.
guys get a different flavor. So
Absolutely.
since we are a few minutes over, let's do our loving kindness meditation, which we like to do
To end the show.
Yes. So we thank you all for
Thank you
for
so
being
much for
here,
being here tonight. You're
and
great.
we're
Great.
grateful.
Yes.
Yeah, grateful for you guys being here. So we bless all of you who joined with us, and those that you hold near and dear in your heart.
May you truly be happy.
May you live in peace.
May you live in love.
May you know the power of forgiveness.
May you live in the recognition that your life has deep meaning and good purpose.
That's the Dalai Lama's kindness meditation, which we do as a
Yes.
blessing. And then we added, may you live in the awareness of who you truly are. We extend this blessing to every being that's on the planet. That's Oliver and Yaulanda.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. We certainly enjoyed tonight being in your presence. And we are going to say goodbye until next Friday at 7 o'clock. We'll say go Rams.
Go Rams. Woo-hoo.
You can put on your Ram shades here.
Okay, let's do
Since
that.
you're doing red and white, she's going to put on her Ram shades.
And we're going to close this thing out.
I'm going to put on.
Oh, wow. And I even changed my battery, and it's still not
since
working
since
right.
there's so much to celebrate this weekend, celebrating Winston-Salem State homecoming, celebrating my mother's 89th birthday, celebrating the class of 81 40th class reunion. We just celebrate life all together. We celebrate you.
We celebrate you.
And we love you so much. And until next time,
Co-pastor said adios. Adios.
adios. And until next time, I'm Oliver.
I'm Yaulanda.
And we're the OK Blues.